Welcome back to the Esther Effect, Chapter 2, Day 2 of this 10-day journey through the book of Esther. I'm glad you decided to come back and join me because, you could be doing anything else in the world today. But you came back and you joined me, so now we're going to walk through Chapter 2. We're going to jump right in simply because this one's a little longer than Chapter 1, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. How do we get to Chapter 2? Where did we leave off with Chapter 1? The king had banished Queen Vashti simply because she said no. He said, you come to this party so I can show you off because you mine. And she said, no, bro. So he banished her. You're no longer queen. Deuces, boo. And that's what happened. And so we're now into Chapter 2, and some time has passed. The king had time to cool off. What do I mean by time? Some historians, some theologians say that it was like 4 years. That's a long time to be alone. But trust me when I tell you, this man went alone. Listen, if you've ever been married and then divorced and you took time to yourself, that part, you actually took time to yourself to like get your little self together. You were not alone. You were dating. You were having fun with some folk. Listen, y'all ain't been saved your whole lives. Y'all had a couple of sad pieces. Listen, I know you did. Because listen, I know you did. So he wasn't alone. But after this time had passed, he got a little lonely. What do I mean by lonely? He probably wanted somebody that was more stable, like consistent. Like, you know what I mean? I need a partner to go out through this thing called life with. And I need a queen simply because I'm king. Like, we desire connection as humans. And I don't care what you say. I could be alone. I could be by myself. You can. But we still desire connection. And so to me, he probably was like, you know what? I need something more consistent. Let me find a wife. So he consults his advisors and they say, let's have a beauty contest. That's what I took it as. Let's have a beauty contest. It don't really matter about your character. You got to be beautiful and you got to be a virgin. So the king, he agrees. He's like, yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead and have this beauty contest. Y'all go find the most beautiful women in the kingdom. Bring them to me. So his men, his eunuchs, go out into Persia and they find the most beautiful women in the kingdom and bring them to the palace. But this is not your typical love story. Like, these women didn't volunteer to be a part of this contest. They didn't volunteer to be queen of the kingdom. Like, they were taken. And so can you imagine you minding your own business, having a good old time with your life wherever you are, and some man comes into your house and says, you're beautiful. I like the way you look. And you a virgin? You coming with me. Your family couldn't say nothing. Your papa couldn't say nothing. Mom and them couldn't say nothing. They took you and that was it. That's what happened to these women in this time. So we're moving on to where we now meet Esther. The crazy part is Esther was not her original name. That was her Jewish name. Esther's Hebrew name is Hadassah, which means myrtle. So you know your girl. I'm like, what the crap is myrtle? So I look it up. I'm like, I need to figure out what this is because Hadassah means myrtle. So what does myrtle mean, right? I look it up and I find out that myrtle is actually an evergreen tree, a very fragrant one at that. And if you know anything about evergreen trees, if you cut them down and bring them into your house during Christmas time, your whole entire house smells like an evergreen tree. In spite of the fact that this tree is now dead, it still smells like a freaking evergreen tree. And I love it because I love Christmas. The fantastic part about the myrtle tree is when the leaves are crushed, and I guess they're not leaves, they're like needles. When they're crushed, they release an even more sweeter fragrance, like even more potent, sweeter fragrance. So think about the symbolism here when it comes to her name. You release something powerful under pressure. Sweet Jesus. Listen, that part right there took me all the way out. Like, I'm ready to shout and run in my house because under pressure, you release something even more powerful. Bless the Lord. So that's the thing about her name. Like, God has a plan for you even before you are formed in your mother's womb, all the way down to what your name is and what it means. Like, It's all orchestrated. It's all put together, like before you even get here. Now, for those of us that name our kids all kinds of crazy names, like during this time period, because I don't know what's happening in this timeline, we're naming our kids some crazy stuff. But for those of us that name our children and their names mean something, like my son Nasir, it wasn't just us naming him, right? God has a plan for him. So just think about that for 2 seconds before you start naming your kids these crazy names. Anyway, I digress. We're going to go back to Esther, right? Esther's name is Hadassah, which means myrtle, but then her Jewish name is Esther, right? Which is pretty phenomenal. There's a preparation period for these women when they get to the kingdom. The preparation time is 12 months. 6 months they're prepared with myrrh. 6 months they're prepared with fragrance and perfumes and all that good stuff and cosmetics. Why the crap does it take 12 months to prepare? I mean, like, I was thinking that from the jump. But then God reminded me that anything worth having takes time to prepare for. And he took me back to when he told me to go to med school. Yes, we are still working on that. God is working on me because I'm the person that, like, I'm not obedient. I'm going to just be honest with you. He's working on me with this obedience and humble thing. Like, he's working on me. And so when it comes to becoming a physician, there's a lot of preparation. You have to go to grade school, K through 12. Then you have to go to undergrad. You got to get your undergrad degree in bio pre-med. Then you have to go on to med school, right? You're in med school for another 4 years and then possibly longer than that, depending on what your specialty is. Then you have to go into residency for who knows how long, because you got to try out some different things. You may change your specialty. And then once you get into it, sometimes you got to go to a fellowship after that. There's a whole lot of time that passes before you are actually prepared to step out and be a physician. And so these 12 months, they had to prepare, right, for such a time as this. Right? They had to prepare for this thing. And the 12 months is significant for so many different reasons. Like, and we're going to get to that point too. The preparation, God has to prepare you before he presents you. That part, like, you can't step out and be presented before you're ready, before your time. Because if you do, you might mess that thing up. You might mess it all the way up. If you present yourself before your time, you might have to get up there and show all that you have and then not have anything left over. Like, God is amazing with the fact that he has to prepare us before he presents us to the world. And Esther couldn't step into the palace as Queen Esther until she first endured the process of refining her, humbling her, and then it taught her obedience. Like, your girl needs that. I need refined. I'm gonna be honest with you. I need to be humbled sometimes, and I need obedience, because God will tell me to do something and I'll be like, but God, why can't I just, like, not do that and do this? And he's like, because I said so. And then I'll go ahead and do it anyway and mess it all the way up. So she had to go through this time. She had to go through this process of preparation for those times. Because think about it. As queen, you have to be refined. You have to be humble. And you absolutely have to exhibit obedience. Like, you can't just be... That's why Queen Vashti got banished. Because she wasn't obedient. Let's move on. We walk into divine favor a little further into this chapter. It's her turn to actually come before the king. She comes before the king, and she is not a show-off. She is just being who she is. I'm just going to be me, period. Right? Here's the thing about this. If I bring it into today's time, how many singers do you know, when it's their time to grab the microphone, they sing every run they know in that one song? You don't have to show off, boo. You don't. Because favor and anointing will go further, way further than talent. Trust me. You absolutely have to be able to sing. Don't get it twisted. But, like, you don't have to show everything that you have in that song. Musicians, you don't got to hit every lick when you get your solo, okay? Don't do that. You don't have to. So I just wanted to put that out there because, I'm in the music industry and that kind of happens. But anyway, she doesn't show off. She doesn't demand attention. She just is who she is. She simply followed the advice of the eunuch who knew exactly what the king liked. Again, following instructions. Can you follow flipping instructions? Like, it's not that difficult. Okay, I guess it is because I don't follow instructions all the time. I don't know about y'all, but I don't. Anyway, because she did that, she followed instructions. She won favor with everybody she came in contact with. Like, everybody loved her simply because she followed the instructions of the eunuch. He knew what the king liked, and he liked her too. Like, she was that one. She was the one, okay? The difference between manipulating doors open and being divinely chosen is at play here. She didn't walk in this thing trying to manipulate nothing to get this door to open. She was just being exactly who she was, and then she followed the instructions. So God divinely opened the door for her simply because she followed directions. Learn to follow flipping directions and watch how God will move in your life, period. So when God marks you, you don't have to strive. Favor does the heavy lifting. It really does. Like, God will open the doors, pour you out, like open the windows. I mean, like, it all of it, because it's divine favor. You don't have to manipulate. You don't got to open the door at all. So when Esther is finally brought to the king, he's so captivated by her that he places the royal crown on her head and declares her queen. Listen, love at first sight. That's the first thing I could think of. Like, he fell in love with her from the moment he saw her. And he said, you know what? You're mine. Young men, it does not take forever for you to know that she's the one. Young women, it does not take him 10, 12, 8 years to decide whether you're the one or not. He knows from the minute he meets you that you're the one. Trust me when I tell you that. Like, he knows from the jump. I'm speaking from experience, period. It don't take long when he knows. Listen. So if he hasn't, you know what I'm saying, locked you down yet, that's because you're not the one. Don't get your little feelings hurt. Just know it's time to move on. You may love him and all of that good stuff, but just know that you're not the one. And it's just time to move on, because God has somebody for you. God has the man that's waiting to meet you. Like, because he that findeth a wife, you're his wife. He can't find you if you tied up with this one right here who don't really want you in the first place. You're a space holder. Okay, that's all I'm going to say, because I could get into this and talk about this forever. I might actually do a video on this a little later in life. But listen, stop being a placeholder for a man that don't really want you. Okay? Don't do that. And men, stop holding these women hostage because you don't want to be alone. Okay? Because you can't find your good thing if you holding her hostage and you don't really want to be with her. That's all I'm saying. Let's move on. When Esther, like I said, when she's finally brought to him, he puts she's now queen, and that's it. And here's where the miracle is. A Jewish woman becomes queen of Persia. Say what? Look, that is not a coincidence. God has a plan in place. Listen, we got 8 more chapters to get through. He got a plan. Trust me when I tell you. So meanwhile, behind the scenes, at the end of this chapter, Mordecai is sitting at the gate. He's sitting at the gate. He's just sitting there, you know, kind of keeping an eye on his daughter, right? And he uncovers a plot against the king. He reports it, saving the king's life, but he doesn't get noticed for it. Like, he don't get credit for it just yet. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever, like, did the right thing and nobody noticed it? You did the right thing. You saved somebody's life. You you're at work and, there's some shady stuff happening and you tell your boss, but you don't get credit for it. Just hold on a little while longer. You may not get noticed for it just yet, but just wait, because God has a plan. Whew, Father God. And he's recording it for the right season. Listen, I'm excited about this thing because it's crazy. So here's your little theological takeaways for those theologians out there in the world. God works in hidden spaces. He works in hidden spaces. Even when his name is not mentioned, because it's not mentioned in the book of Esther at all, his hand is all through it. Like, he's working behind the scenes, even though these people don't even realize it. Number 2, preparation comes before promotion. You have to prepare Jesus properly in order to be seen and recognized, right? She had to be refined for an entire year before she was recognized. Favor beats force. You don't have to force that door open, because if God don't want you to walk through it, it's going to stay shut. But whenever he's ready to open a door for you, divine favor is at play, honey. So listen, don't sit there and act like you're not going to get what is due you, because God has that thing coming for you. You just got to be patient and let him open the door. Number 4, obedience positions you for destiny. Esther was obedient. She did exactly what the eunuch said. She did exactly what he said, because he knew what the king liked. And if she had not listened to him, and had she not listened to Mordecai and actually divulged who she was and what her nationality was, homegirl wouldn't have been queen, which then later on she wouldn't be able to save a nation. So I'm done with that. I want you to reflect a little bit about this chapter right here, because it's very significant about preparation and about favor and how God is working behind the scenes, even when we don't even realize what he's doing. So take your time, read this chapter for yourself. Okay? Get revelation, because God is going to give it to you. Pick your version, like whatever works best for you to help you understand. Okay? Be sure to do that. Listen, we're going to jump into chapter 3 on tomorrow. That's so churchy. We're going to jump into chapter 3 tomorrow, where it gets even more deeper, even more fascinating to me. And I hope that you are enjoying this time with me on this journey through the book of Esther, because, listen, I'm super excited about all of it. So, as my closing thought, Esther's story reminds us that you don't have to announce what God is doing. Just stay faithful in the process. You don't have to let everybody know what you're doing. Stop posting everything on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, telling people I'm going to do XYZ, because I promise you, like 9 times out of 10, that thing might not ever happen. God will handle what he has to handle behind the scenes. You just do what you're supposed to do and prepare properly, and watch how God will move in your life. Listen, I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. Have a blessed night.